CEO Go Explore is the message for CEOs who want to improve firm growth and firm performance. CEOs of the S&P 500 earn more than $8 billion a year. This is a massive investment, and directors, investors, retail shareholders want to know if this investment is earning an ROI that is suitable. And CEOs themselves want to know, are they doing the right things? Are they taking the right action to earn that compensation and the trust of their investors? But the CEO's role and scope of duties is very broad. And because the CEO wields significant power and decision-making, the discretionary activities that the CEO involves in is almost limitless. But there are constraints. One person can only do so much. One person only has so much knowledge and time. As Elon Musk has said, it's so hard to be useful, especially to be useful to a lot of people. This famous CEO himself acknowledges this limitation. But at the same time, this famous CEO acts as CEO for multiple companies: Starlink, xAI, SpaceX, Tesla, X, as well as significant management input to companies where he is a majority shareholder, Neuralink, the Boring Company. So his limited time and attention is allocated across a broad range of companies. Not only that, but Elon Musk's attention is also allocated across a number of personal activities, including gaming. He has spent thousands of hours achieving his rank as one of the world's top Diablo 4 players, which he's very proud of. And in addition to that, he's tweeting sometimes more than 100 times a day. And among his tweeting and allocating his time across numerous companies, he even found time to open a Department of Government Efficiency, an entirely new department of the United States government. So is he really adding value as CEO to all of these companies? Do CEOs really matter? The answer is yes, they do matter. Empirical studies consistently show that a significant portion of firm performance is attributable to the CEO. A study by Baltrunaite of more than 10,000 companies in Italy, tracking directors across companies and across time, found that 19% of the variance of firm performance is explained by the CEO. In addition, Denter et al. Conducted a unique study looking at the change in share price after CEOs suddenly died in office, and suddenly died due to heart attacks, accidents, and not a slow, expected death that arises from terminal illness. And he found that when older founder CEOs died suddenly, there was, unfortunately, a 5.2% increase in the share price. Older founder CEOs might not be happy to hear that, but this figure does show us that CEOs matter. And CEOs matter also to functional variations and functional performance of companies. Hagendorf et al. Conducted a study of US banks and found that 23% of the variation of risk management of the banks could be attributed to the fixed effects of the CEO. So CEOs matter, but what can a CEO do? And what qualities of a CEO matter? Hagendorf et al. And a body of research, a field of research called upper echelon theory, have identified a number of personal characteristics of CEOs that impact performance, including tenure, age, CEO duality, which is when the CEO is both CEO and chairman of the board, and education, including MBA education, have consistently been found but not always, to have an impact on firm growth. But in the Hagendorf study, it was also found that while 23% of risk management variation was due to the CEO fixed effects, only 14% of the 23%, that is approximately 3%, was due to these demographic variables. Moreover, these demographic variables are not entirely useful to us. We can't tell a CEO to become older or to become younger. We can't tell a CEO to ditch an MBA education they've already earned. What can be more interesting to us is the behavior. One behavior of a CEO that's showing promise to influence firm growth is CEO focus on innovation. Thus far, the study of innovation has focused on firm-wide measures of innovation and not the CEO focus on innovation. However, if the firm-wide focus on innovation influences firm growth, then it's logical that the CEO focus on innovation also might have a positive impact on firm growth. Three types of innovation are explorative innovation, which is inventing new products and services and exploring new markets; exploitative innovation, which is achieving improvements in efficiency and making incremental adjustment to existing products and services; and ambidextrous innovation, which is measured in some studies as the sum of explorative innovation and exploitative innovation, or in other studies, including my study, the product of explorative innovation and exploitative innovation. If we find that the CEO focus on innovation has a positive influence on firm growth, we have some practical advice for CEOs and for the directors that oversee the performance of CEOs. And we may understand how the CEO demographic variables influence firm growth. It may be through the CEO focus on innovation. We conducted a survey of 163 CEOs in Cambodia across a range of industries. The CEOs to be included in the study had to be in their position for at least 2 years. We analyzed the survey results using robust standard errors regression testing for mediation in SPSS using the Hayes process macro. The variables in our survey, the dependent variable, average growth in employees, geometric growth over the tenure of the CEO, and the independent variables, explorative innovation, exploitative innovation, for which we use the scales developed by Jensen and Kiss and adjusted using confirmatory factor analysis. And ambidextrous innovation, the product of these two measures of innovation. And we also include the CEO age, tenure, duality, and MBA education, as well as a number of control variables, including firm size, firm industry, economic growth over the tenure of the CEO, as well as gender and nationality. What did we find? Well, we found that a lot of these variables didn't matter. Exploitative innovation didn't matter. Ambidextrous innovation didn't matter. The CEO age wasn't significant. The CEO duality and MBA education didn't make a difference either. Only 2 variables made a difference. They were explorative innovation. And we found that a 10% increase in the CEO's focus on explorative innovation increased the annual firm growth by 5%. And now we have practical advice for the CEOs that they should be focusing their time and allocating their time on inventing new products and services or encouraging the invention of new products and services and exploring market opportunities. They should not be allocating time to long strategic meetings, to walking the shop floor, to spending time with customers. Their time is best used and explorative innovation. The second is that we find that tenure has a negative impact on the CEO's performance or the growth in the firm. For every additional year of tenure, we find a 2% decrease in annual firm growth. However, if this is due to risk, then we should be careful to align the risk with the investors and shareholders. We should make sure that an older shareholder is taking enough risk to satisfy the risk appetite of investors. And we should make sure that younger CEOs are not taking too much risk or greater amount of risk than is expected or desired by the investors. So it's important that the directors make sure that the risk appetite of the CEO is aligned with the risk appetite of investors. So Elon Musk might have found the secret that he doesn't need to spend his days talking with customers and walking the shop floor. Instead, he might understand that the most efficient use of his time is explorative innovation, encouraging the development of new products and services and exploring new market opportunities. And that allows him to act efficiently across a number of companies where he is the CEO at the same time. And you, CEO, go explore.